Okay, so right now we talk about the third method, declining balance method, 余额递减法. So we talk about you, the first year. You had so many activities the first year, so use yourself more, so value decrease more. And your second year, you will, try to reduce some activities, so the value decrease less. On your last year, you do nothing because you think you're too old, okay? So for this method, you'll find out the first year, you will have the highest depreciation expense, okay? And the last year, you will have the lowest depreciation expense, okay? So that's a declining balance method. We want to get the result like this. So what's the result like this? First year, the highest, and the amount decreasing to the last year should be the lowest, okay? So in order to do that, we use the different formula. So why we use the different formula? We know the first year should be highest, then decreasing to the last year should be the lowest, okay? So what kind of PP we will have this situation? Like you, the youngest, you are the first year, you will have so many activities, right? So when you are getting older and older, you decide to reduce all the activities, doing nothing, okay? So the same for PPE machine, especially. For machines, when we have the new machine, we think, oh, new machine, we should use the new machine more. Why? Because the new machine have the highest efficiency functions, right? So since it's a new machine, like what? You have a new car, you will say, oh, I have a new car. I want to use my new car, drive my new car every day. When you have an iPad laptop, you say, oh, that's my new iPad laptop. I want to use it every day. So after 1 year, 2 years, you are not so interested, right? So you are going to use it less than the first year, okay? So that's why we have this kind of situations. So when you think it's newest, when we have a more productive, so more productive means what? Is functions, of course, the best the first year, right? So you are going to use it more. So when you're getting older and older, then you will leave your machine PP there. You don't want to use it, okay? Hi guys, what are you doing? Okay, so that's why we have this kind of situations. Then how to do that? That's our purpose, right? That's our target. You want to get the highest, decreasing to the lowest. That's why we cannot use the same formulas. We have to use another formula in order to achieve this curve right here. So what's another formula we use? Trying to achieve the curve. It's about the math. So that's why we use this. Beginning book value times constant depreciation rate. Beginning book value. Beginning book value 起初账面价值。We use the number beginning book value times what? Constant means the same. Depreciation rate 折旧率 means what? The percentage your value decrease. So how many percentage of your value decrease each year? So we will use the same percentage, okay? So beginning book value is decreased every year, right? Each year, your book value will be decreased. So we use this times the same percentage. You will get the target, the result you want. What's that? Your depreciation expense decrease each year, okay? Use these amounts. Our amounts decrease times the same percentage. Okay, so based on this, can you get the result we want? The expense, the amount for expense, depreciation expense will be decreased, right? Okay, so our purpose, why we use different formula? We use different formula right here. We don't use cost. We don't use residual value. We use this because we want to achieve the purpose. So what's the purpose? We want to get the curve. So what's the curve we want to get? First year, highest, and the number decreasing to the last year, lowest. Okay? In order to get the curve right here, that's why we use beginning book value. Based on the value we have on the first day, and we expect how many percentage is value decrease, okay? So based on the value on the first day, then we consider its value decrease. How many percentage? Okay? So based on this, we can get the amount for depreciation expense. Any questions? No problem? Okay. Also, this means what? Amount for depreciation expense means amount of value decrease. Any questions? Okay. So since your beginning book value decrease each year, so that will make your depreciation expense decrease each year. Okay. Book value decrease each year, of course, right? Your PP's value decrease each year when you use it. So my first number decrease each year. So based on the first number, I will get depreciation expense decrease each year. Okay, so did you find out? That's how we got the curve right here. Okay, any questions? Okay, so let's see after you understand the concept. So what's the concept? Based on your beginning book value, your PP's value on first day, the value decrease each year. Based on number, then we will get this amount also decrease each year. Okay. Then let's see, since you understand the formula, let's see how to get beginning book value. Beginning book value is our book value on first day, right? So how to get the book value? Right? Okay. So let's see how to get the beginning book value. The beginning book value is the cost minus accumulated depreciation. You got the book value, right? Okay. So that's how we got beginning book value. But don't forget, it's on your first day. Okay. Then how is the constant depreciation rate? Constant means each year we use the same depreciation rate, right? So how to get the depreciation rate 折旧率 means what? Your value decrease how many percentage? If I assume depreciation rate 10%, so what does it mean? Means your value decrease 10% each year. Okay, so that's a depreciation rate. Tell you your value decrease how many percentage each year. Okay, so how to get this number? We use straight line method depreciation rate. Based on straight line method, you can get the depreciation rate, right? 直线法下的折旧率。OK， straight line depreciation rate 直线法下的折旧率。So what does it mean? If I told you your PP's useful life is 4 years, can you tell me each year your value decrease how many percentage? 4 years for 100%, right? So each year, how many percentage your value decrease? Divided by 4, right? So you got 25%. So first year, 25%. Second year, 25%. Third year, 25%. Last year, 25%, right? So that's when useful life is 4 years. So we divide it by 4. Each year, your value decreased 25%. Okay? Then how about if we assume your useful life is 5 years? So what if useful life is 5 years? So can you tell me your value decrease how many percentage? First year, 1 divided by 5, 20%, right? Second year, 20%. Third year, 20%. Fourth year, 20%. Last year, 20%. Okay? So each year, your value decreased 20% when your useful life is 5 years. When your useful life is 4 years, then each year your value decreased 25%, right? So that's how we got straight line depreciation rate 直线法下的折旧率。好 ，1 divided by your useful life。Okay, so it means what? My PP's value decrease 20% or 25%, depends on useful life. Okay, so each year you will get the same percentage, but right now we give it some times, depends on how fast your value decrease. So maybe we times 1.5, 1.75, or 2. So means what? Your value decrease. For example, you times 2 means your value decrease 2 times, right? So if it's 20% times 2 means what? Your value decrease 40%, okay? So based on straight line depreciation rate, we will times some numbers to make your value decrease faster. Okay, so maybe 1.5, 1.75, 2, depends on your company situations. Okay, any questions? So when your company decide to choose 2, okay, 2 times, we'll give it another name. Here, double declining balance method 余额递减法. When you decide to choose 2, then here, double. So we call it double declining balance method, okay? So when you decide to choose 2 times, then based on that, we give it, the terms, we have another term, another word right here, double. To let you understand, we decide to choose 2. So double declining balance method, 倍数余额递减法. Okay? So when I look at double declining balance method, I know the number I choose 2. The others, we don't have another name, we don't have. So it's quite common to use this one, this number 2. Okay? Any questions? So based on this formula, you will get the result we want. So what's the result we want? First year, the highest, and decreasing to the last year, the lowest. Okay? So same question right here. So please go to your handout. Do you need more time right here? If you don't have any questions, please go to your handout on page 27. Your handout on page 27. Okay? Your handout on page 27. Did you find out? What's the number we are going to choose? Double declining balance method, 倍数余额递减法. So based on the double told you, you should choose the number 2, right? So try to finish this page 27 and page 28. But what's the pattern we have? You have to know the first year you will get the highest depreciation expense, then the number decreasing. To the last year, you should get the lowest. Okay, so that's our pattern. And also don't forget, always make sure the number should be your residual value. Okay, so please finish it. Double declining balance method 倍数余额递减法 we want the first year should be the highest. Decreasing to the last year should be the lowest. If you finish, you can double check the answer right here. So first thing you have to understand, we think the value decreased how many percentage? Useful life 5 years, right? So each year we think the value decrease 20% is straight line depreciation rate, right? Then we times 2, right? Because it's double. So we find out our value decrease 40% each year. We expect our value decrease 40% each year. 40%, what's the amount for 40%? Don't forget, beginning book value. So what does it mean, beginning book value? Beginning book value is the book value from last year, right? So on December 31st, you have a beginning book value from January 1st, right? So January 1st, based on the book value, times 40%, and got the depreciation expense $5,200. After that, you got the book value for second year, right? But don't forget, not second year, sorry. You got the book value for the first year. First year, last day book value will become second year's beginning book value, right? So you can use first year's book value to calculate your second year's depreciation expense, okay? Any questions? Do you understand? So based on the book value from last year, you can use it to get the book value for your second year. Any questions? But be careful. For this method, be careful for your last year. If you continue the way to get the number for last year, you'll find out your residual value is now $1,000. So for this method, be careful what? You want to get your depreciation expense. You want to get your accumulated depreciation. You have first, based on residual value, to calculate backwards for your accumulated depreciation, for your depreciation expense for last year. So last year, be careful when you use the formula. When you use the formula beginning book value times 40%, you will not get the residual value on last year. So for this method, be careful. Last year will be different. Last year, you had to use residual value, then calculate backwards to your accumulated depreciation, to your depreciation expense, okay? So it means based on step one, you get the number step two, the number step three. So you have to calculate backwards.倒推 Okay? Any questions? So based on this, do we find out the result we want? Yes, right? So what's the result we want? The result we want is first year should be the highest. Then decreasing to last year should be the lowest. Okay? Any questions? If you don't have any questions, then please go to your page 28. Did you finish page 28? Based on page 27, the numbers we got, please finish page 28. Write down the journal entries, prepare your financial statements. Okay, any questions for the tables? Then use the table to write down your journal entries. Okay, so for your first year and your second year, you'll find out the number should be highest, then decreasing. That's the result we expect, okay? Because the first year we use more, so depreciation expense should be highest. Then decreasing to the last year, we don't want to use it anymore, so our depreciation expense should be lowest. Okay? Any questions? How about financial statements? For financial statements, we have the numbers from your tables, right? So first year depreciation expense 5,200. Second year depreciation expense $3,120. Any questions? You just copy the numbers from your tables, right? So the most important thing is make sure you know how to calculate the numbers on tables. Then just copy the numbers from your tables. You can prepare your financial statements. Any questions? No problem? If you don't have any questions, then please also finish page 29. 29, it means when we buy the PP, not on first date. So in real world, usually we don't buy PP on first day, right? January 1st. So please go to your page 29. When you buy the PP on April 1st, then we use the third method, double declining balance method, 倍数余额递减法. Then how we get the amount for each year. If you finish, you can double check the answers right here on your page 29. Don't forget the third method, declining balance method, 余额递减法. Pay attention to the last year because the last year, when you use the formulas, you cannot get the residual value. So when you use the formula, you will find out the last number will not be the residual value. So for this method, be careful. Last year, always calculate the number backward, okay? You base on residual value, figure out your accumulated depreciation, figure out your depreciation expense for your last year. Okay? If you've done already, please finish page 30. Finish page 30. Page 30, just copy the number from straight line method, from declining balance method, from units of activity methods. We need the whole year. So you copy the number is only for the whole year, January 1st. We assume you buy the PP on January 1st. So copy the number from your page. #21, page 24, page 27. So you can copy the number from your page 21, page 24, page 27. Okay, are you done already? Okay, so look at this table. Can you summarize anything? Even though we spent 3 hours trying to get the number depreciation expense for each year. So based on this, can you summarize anything? Did you find out? No matter you use straight line method 直线法 double declining balance method 倍数余额递减法 units of activities 活动量法 did you find out the total numbers the same? Just as we mentioned at the beginning, do you know your total value decrease how much? Yes, we know. So at the beginning, we know the total value decrease how much already. Okay, so our point is not total value decrease $12,000. Our point is we know total value decreased $12,000. We try to find out the number for each year, right? So want to find out the number for each year. That's why we use different methods, okay? Based on your logic, based on how you use your PPE, right? So when you are the old guy, you will use straight line method. Why? Because old guy straight line method, we do the same thing every day. So since we do the same thing every day, our value decrease should be the same each year, okay? Then when you are the young guy like you, right? Then you are going to use yourself the first year more and decreasing to the last year. You don't want to do anything. You don't have any activities. So your value decrease will be the lowest. Okay? So when you are the young guy, then you know, okay, the first year we will do a lot of activities. So your value will be decreased the highest. Then decreasing to last year. So last year, we don't want to do anything. So our value will be decreased the lowest. Okay? How about unit of activities? You are the crazy guy. So what does it mean? Crazy guy, we don't have the patterns. So each year, the value decrease. Did you find out? We don't have the pattern. Depends on what? Depends on the unit you used. Each year, right? Okay, so even though we spend 3 hours to ask you do the math, but you have to understand what's the logic we have actually right here. Okay, any questions? So 3 methods just help you to find out the amount for each year. Then based on this, you can expect your PP's book value each year. Then based on that number, you assume, okay, maybe my cell phone, I buy my cell phone $20,000. After 1 year, you can guess, you can expect, okay, my cell phone's value after 1 year should be how much it is, okay? That's it for 3 methods. If you don't have any questions, then we stop here, okay?